Hi everyone, it's Mel here and welcome back to Mel's Blind Life, the YouTube channel all about blindness. Why does this happen? Hey, why does this happen? Every time I start recording a video, you guys come running. Oh my gosh. Hi everyone, it's Mel here and welcome back to Mel's Blind Life, the YouTube channel all about blindness. And welcome to this video. Usually in this time slot, I would do a video specifically relating to orientation and mobility. It would be all about guide dogs or white canes or a public transport app or something like that. But I wanted to cover something which has affected everybody. There are so many people in the world that have been affected by this, and I wanted to talk about it from my point of view as a person with no eyesight, because I think it's really important that we get awareness out there and we discuss how it's affected people like myself. And yes, we are going to talk about COVID. That's right. If you wanted something not related to COVID, please click away now because this is related to COVID. But if you're interested in that virus and how it affects people, please stay here. Also, if you want to stay here permanently, I would love to have you here in my family on YouTube. So remember to subscribe to Mel's Blind Life and click the notifications so that you get more video updates all about blindness. So in late January, coronavirus or COVID-19 started spreading itself around the world. It was detected in China in December of 2019. It was declared a pandemic by the World Health Organization in March. The Australian government put in lockdown restrictions. The Victorian state government put in a state of emergency. We are still in that state of emergency now. They are slowly starting to lift restrictions, but we're having another spike at the moment, and it's taking forever to go back to life as it was, and who knows whether we will ever go back to life as it was pre-COVID-19. Anyway, we're not here to actually talk about the virus. We are here to talk about how it has affected people like myself, people around the world who are vision impaired or visually impaired if you're from the United States of America, or blind. So for me, if you don't know my story, I am completely blind. I have no light perception. This week coming up, I'm doing a vision update and what I see type video, so keep an eye out for that. And I have a working guide dog. I have had her now for 9 months, I think. Maybe? Yeah, 9 months. No? 8 months. 8.5 months. Something like that. Anyway, I have had her for just under a year, just over 6 months. I have also had a guide dog work for me previously. I cannot see anything. As a matter of fact, I can't even see whether there are lights turned on in my house. I literally have to walk around feeling all the light switches to make sure that lights are turned off. That's how blind I am. Anyway, so this virus has affected heaps and heaps of people. Just a disclaimer, I have not got sick with the virus. I have been very, very lucky. I have not contracted it at all, and I haven't even been in contact and had to do 14 days lockdown and stuff like that. But I have obviously had to conform to new social distancing restrictions and lockdown rules and all of the things that everyone else has had to conform to, which is what I wanted to talk about today, is how all the social distancing and the lockdown and everything has made life for people like myself a little more complicated. So one of the main things, and the first thing with COVID, has been obviously lockdown. It is a fantastic tool that is being used to slow the spread of the virus, and it has been something that has been quite effective, especially here in my part of the world. I live in rural far northwestern Victoria in Australia, so I've been fairly lucky for where I live. We have only up to this point had 5 COVID cases in my area. The most recent case was back in early April. So as I said, we've been very, very lucky where I live not to have too many cases and things like that. But we have had lockdown, and that is the first thing that has really impacted on my life as a person with a vision impairment, because with lockdown rules, I have not been able to work my guide dog as much as is necessary. So it is necessary, obviously, for someone who has just a pet dog to exercise their dog every single day, at least a couple times a week. You have to exercise your dog frequently. But it's even more important for someone who is a dog guide handler to frequently use their dog and expose it to different environments. I know that people who have got guide dogs who would usually work in the city, or who would usually, travel to work every single day, or go to the shops every single day, or, things like that, have been struggling with boredom, even with their older dogs, dogs that have been out in the field working for a few years. So for myself, because my guide dog is very, very new, I had only had her for about 4 months when all of this started, which is hard to believe that this has been going on for so long. But I had only had her for a few months when all of this stuff started, and it was really stressful for me as a handler going into such a new partnership, not to be able to expose my dog to all of the things that she needs to be exposed to make sure that her standard of working is kept really good. So I haven't been able to take her to shopping centres. I haven't been able to take her on public transport as much. I hadn't been able to, take her down to the city. Probably over Easter time, if restrictions hadn't have been in place, I would have taken my guide dog down to Melbourne, which is our capital city here in Victoria, and spent Easter weekend with my family. So she missed out on that, and she's missed out on a lot of work because of COVID. So that has been one thing that people have been really struggling with on user groups, guide dog user groups on Facebook. A lot of the main question lately has been, what do I do to entertain my dog? How do I help my guide dog get the stimulation and exercise and training that it needs to keep itself both from getting bored and to keep it from becoming destructive, and to keep it in work, and to keep its skills up, so that when we do return, then we don't have trouble getting our dogs to do their job. So that has been the first thing. The second thing, and definitely the most frustrating for the most people that I've seen, is social distancing. So our community is vision impaired, blind, can't see nothing, or can't see very much. So social distancing is really, really tricky to observe for people who are blind, especially completely blind, or people who have very low functioning vision. Because on public transport, they are putting like a dot or a circle or something on seats that you can't sit on. At the doctor's surgery, they are putting a piece of paper on every second seat that says you can't sit here. At shopping centres, they are putting little squares or dots or whatever on the floor to show how far away from other people in the line you need to stand. If you are requiring assistance such as sighted guide, how do you accept that whilst observing social distancing restrictions? You can't. So that has been the second thing that has been really, really complicated and really hard for blind people to conform to, is social distancing. Personally, I have cheated a little bit, really. I have been going to the supermarket with my support worker. The only time that I will really go out, especially to a place like the supermarket or the coffee shop, is if I am with someone who can see for me. I won't go to a restaurant, a coffee shop, the supermarket, the bank, whatever, without a sighted companion. Primarily because I can't read the signs that tell you how far away to stand from one another. I can't observe the rules with relation to what seats you can sit at on public transport. I caught the bus independently for only about the second time in my last video, which is a guide dog Penelope adventure. I can't remember what I call the title now, but I did catch the bus in that last video, so check that out if you want to see that. But I got away with it because I knew that the seats where I always sit on the bus, which are the priority seats, the accessible, priority, disability, whatever you want to call them seats, I knew that they would be available. And I just hoped that if someone was sitting in them, then they would either let me know, or they would move away, or, you know, there would be some kind of a way of me being told that I had to either sit somewhere else, or people, you know, observing social distancing more stringently, because I can't. And that's the thing that I really, really hope happens, is I really, really hope that sighted members of the community are more vigilant about how they observe social distancing when they see someone with a white cane or a guide dog, because I hope that they understand that that person with the white cane or guide dog may not necessarily be able to observe social distancing themselves. So I put it on you guys, you sighted people, to please be cognizant, I guess, of the fact that there is someone around you who might have a white cane or a guide dog, and try to keep yourself socially distanced from that person, and just be more aware of your own self in these situations. So the third thing that has really been a bit of an interruption and has had quite an effect on my life as someone who is vision impaired is taking my animals to the vet and being confident in doing so. So taking my animals to the vet is something that I don't have to do very often, But since all of this stuff has come out, it's been quite a bit of a concern for me, because not only can I not read signs and things like that, but you have to sit in the car park in your vehicle. You have to wait for the veterinarian to come out and get your animal, and then you have to just wait for them to treat your animal. And there's not a lot of sort of contact with the veterinarian. So it makes it very difficult for me, especially with services, not just veterinarians, but other services, not being able to come to your home. So the other thing that hasn't been able to happen, that I'll get to in a moment, is my guide dog mobility instructor cannot come into my home. I haven't been able to have really anyone from the outside come in and do things the way that I would normally get them done. So that is something that really concerns me. I haven't had it yet, but it really concerns me if there is a health emergency with one of my animals and I need the veterinarian to come out and see one of my animals, and they can't because they aren't allowed into my home, and I can't take them to the vet surgery because I don't have a driver's license for obvious reasons. So that is something else that really concerns me, is, getting care for my animals. And as I said, tying into this also is not being able to have people come into your home. And this is the last point, and I know I've missed several points out, but not being able to have people come into your home has really, really changed the way that things are done, because my guide dog, Penelope, is only 8 months into her journey with me. I've only had her since October, and we are still on a follow-up regime. So during isolation, we've actually missed out on 2 follow-up visits. Now, just a disclaimer, my guide dog school are doing telehealth practice, so you can do a FaceTime call with your guide dog mobility instructor or your orientation and mobility instructor, whichever, to help you with problems. But they are not allowed to travel, and they are not allowed in your home. Nor are people from the National Disability Insurance Scheme. My National Disability Insurance Scheme plan is up for review soon. It's 12-month review. And the conversation that I have with the local area coordinator is going to have to be a telehealth, because she won't be allowed to come into my home. So that has made things a little bit more difficult. My agency, through which I receive my support worker, they are allowed into my home because, they have to support me, but they do have guidelines so far as their hygiene and sanitization is concerned. So that has been a pretty big change, especially for people like me who, even though, yes, I'm quite capable of doing a telehealth sort of meeting with a guide dog mobility instructor, so far as the technology is concerned, it has affected things, because I need to use my time with my support worker to have those telehealth time practice sessions, because I can't walk along, use my guide dog, and also show the camera what's happening. And I don't have a son, daughter, husband, wife, auntie, parent, whatever, to come and participate in my sessions to do the camera work. So I actually have to, deliberately work out a time with my instructor and a support person to do things like the telehealth. So that's just 4 ways that the coronavirus has affected me as a blind person, there are several other ways. I did actually write a blog post a couple of weeks ago about some other effects of coronavirus on my community. So I'll leave a link to my blog page in the description down below, so go check that out. Also, we have got a Twitter account now, so that is linked in the description down below, and of course all of my other socials are in the description down below, so please go check those out. If you've got any requests, anything you would like to see me do a video on, if you've got any questions for me, anything like that, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below, or send me a private message on Facebook or Instagram, and I will respond to that. And also, please guys, stay safe, stay healthy. Remember to look after yourselves, to social distance and all of the things, so that we don't have a second spike, and so that we don't have a reducing of things that we're allowed to do again. We were about to come out of restrictions here where I am, but there have been several new cases. There were 24 cases in the last 24 hours or something like that. And so restrictions, instead of being lifted on Monday, have actually been sort of made bigger. So I hope that everyone stays safe, stays healthy, listens to the rules, takes care of friends and family and neighbours and those who are more vulnerable. And I will see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.